Hello and welcome to another Teatime Talks. Today I have a very interesting panel with me. Well, they're smart, they are sassy, and certainly very classy. They conjure up elegant events with elan. They turn flowery words into appealing marketing campaigns. They sell luxury and vivid dreams with that magic wand of flair, sophistication, and style. My first guest today is Suhasini Ashar. Welcome, Suhasini. You have to unmute. Let me introduce Suhasini. With over 7 years of amassed experience in marketing and public relations across 6 hotels and other industries, Suhasini now heads the marketing, digital, and brand at the Westin Mumbai Garden City. She has been responsible for devising efficient marketing strategies towards maximizing hotel revenues and developing award-winning communication plans for multiple brands throughout her tenure in hospitality industry. And we in Hyderabad still remember the wonderful events she hosted at the Marriott Hyderabad, and now she's moved to Mumbai, the Westin. So welcome, Suhasini. It's so nice to have you with us.
Thank you so much, Shivani. Thank you for the intro. I miss you guys back in Hyderabad, but it's lovely to be in the city of dreams.
Yes, certainly. My second guest, Harshvardhan, is Senior Manager Marketing and Communication, the Westin Hyderabad Mindspace, overlooking the strategy and execution of 360-degree marketing activities in all traditional and new innovative platforms. He's an award-winning marketer, having won awards such as PR Manager of the Year 2019, South Zone at BW Hotelier IHA Summit, and 2017, he won the Accor Hotels India Marketing Person of the Year. He has always hosted PR events with great warmth and personal involvement, and he's definitely a darling of the Hyderabad influencer set. Welcome, Harshvardhan.
Thank you, Shivani. Thank you so much. That's, I think, the kindest intro I've ever got. I'm going to keep a clipping of this for a long time.
Sure. My third guest is young and vibrant Rubeena Khan, hailing from a commerce background. She found her passion in hospitality marketing 3.5 years ago, currently holding the position of an assistant manager, marketing and communication at Sheraton Hyderabad Hotel, another brand of Marriott International. She got her first experience in hospitality industry with Dubai Marine Beach Resort in the UAE, and then she moved to India with the Westin Hyderabad and now with Sheraton. I have personally seen her growth over the last 3.5 years, and she is a fine marketer, I would say. So welcome all of you. I hope you're ready with your cups of tea.
Thank you, Shivani. And yes, we're ready.
Okay. What tea do you like, Rubeena?
I'm having just organic green tea right now.
Okay. Harsh?
I'm more of a traditional ginger tea sort of a person. I'm very picky and choosy about my tea.
Okay. And so Suhasini?
I'm actually not even a tea person. I prefer fresh fruit juice, but I like to have green tea when I'm at office.
Okay, great. So let's start with Suhasini. Tell us, how did you choose hotels as a career, and you've worked in other industries also. So tell us, how did your career shape up till now?
So I could actually call myself an accidental hotelier, if I may so. It was not something I ever planned. I was into events much before, and I was also into dancing. I enjoyed it as a passion. I took it up as a career option as well. But then hospitality happened to me, and I realized I've always been a people's person. I love people around me all the time. And in hospitality, you get to interact with people from all walks of life. There's so much exposure to culture, to languages. There's so much to learn and develop, not just professionally, but even as a person, I think you grow. There's so much self-growth. And I've enjoyed every little stint of mine at every hotel that I've worked with so far. And it's been brilliant so far. And I think I'm going to continue being in this field.
Okay, wonderful. Let's hear you, Harsh. How did it all happen?
I could call myself a born hotelier because probably when I was in school, I decided that I'm going to be with hotel management. But I'm an
Oh,
accidental marketeer, though.
okay.
I did all my education in hospitality and hotels alone. I did not sort of go out and learn anything else other than hospitality. But yes, when I started, I was a salesperson for, I mean, if you look at it right now, almost half of my career, I was a catering sales or a banquet salesperson. Post which suddenly moved on to marketing. And I think once the marketing bug bit me, I didn't want to go back and sell people any new spaces. But I said, marketing is more creative, gave me more ways to express myself and to do innovative stuff. Thankfully got into places that let me do that crazy stuff around, and I think that's what has kept me going on with marketing as of now. So
Okay.
yeah,
Now
that's
on
that's what
to
my career has been.
lovely. So now on to Rubeena. Tell us, how did you get?
Yeah, so I found my calling in hospitality marketing about 3.5 years ago, as you know. I mean, honestly, it just happened by chance. Like Suhasini mentioned, I mean, there was no concrete plan as such back then. I mean, I did partially work with this beach resort in Dubai back in 2017, and I think that's actually where the passion arose from, right? I mean, Shivani, you've worked with hotels, you'd probably resonate with what we're saying. I mean, there's always so much to do, right? I mean, at no point in time you would feel like, oh, there's this monotony that is setting in. I mean, I think the industry is so diverse and competitive in nature, right? It just always keeps you on the foot, and I really like it. I just like it that way. And I think this industry has given me a lot of exposure, and you've sort of been part of the journey. You've seen that too. I've had this opportunity to engage with people from all walks of life, and obviously in return I've had this opportunity to again build those personal and professional relationships. So I think, yeah, that's what I really like about my job.
Okay. So Hasini, how important it is to start with a solid brand, or work for a brand like Marriott and represent them in communications and marketing?
I think I've been very lucky with being able to start up my entire career with hospitality with such a big brand. I think it's very important, but I wouldn't say that that's the only way out. It's really who you are and your passion for what you do that makes the difference. But yes, I think as a brand, Marriott and all the other hotels I work with, ITC, so they do give you a base. The kind of exposure they give you is tremendous, and to be able to work with people across different cultures, across different departments, each one brings so much onto the table. And the bigger the brand, the more exposure. I think with Marriott we had so much exposure, and Rubeena and Harsh would side me with this. We've been the past few years has been big for us. The merger happened. Starwood and Marriott came together. There were so many more hotels that came on board. The people we talked to from across Hong Kong, the United States, across Asia Pacific, across continents. I think this kind of exposure is not something we even imagined that we'd actually get into such a big bubble. But it's been tremendous, and I think it's extremely important that your brand supports your thought and Marriott. The bigger brands, the bigger the brands, I think the more the space they give you to sort of get out there, use your vision, your creativity. And I think brands like Marriott, brands like Marriott International support our thoughts, support our creativity. They let us actually go out there, feel what we feel, and represent our brand in what we think is the best way we can. So I think that platform is very important. You need that kind of support system, the environment around you, your bosses. Everyone's on such a brilliant mindset. Everyone's here to push each other. Everyone's here is to pick up each other. There's no pulling anyone down. Everyone's just looking for self growth. Everyone's looking to pick up your team member. It's a beautiful environment, and I think brands like this should actually pass that on to Indian brands, pass that on to standalone outlets. It's a magical world out here.
Well, talking of creativity and teamwork, one event I just cannot forget is the Great Outdoors that you had done. I mean, right from handwritten notes to those tents to a magnificent buffet created in the middle of nowhere and hiking. I mean, that was really one of the best events I have attended.
Yeah, I think the attention to detail also is something that is sort of our okay.
Yes.
Yes, so the Great Marriott Outdoors was one of, I think, the most talked about event, one of the biggest success events that I've been a part of. It had a lot of attention to detail. Every little thing was looked after, planning something like that. So that's what I was saying about. It's not just marketing when you work with brands like this. It's not just one thing that you do. You learn so much from sales. You learn so much in operations. When we did that event, my bit of marketing was probably talking to all of you guys and having you all come on board. But there was so much more that went on the back end of it. Just thinking of how we're going to get the pens, how the staff was staying there for 3 days, trying to get things in place, getting the raw materials there, getting the fire started up. It rained.
There
There
were
was
torches and there were these Swiss
bags.
kind of thing. It was like an adventure that I can't forget.
It was a fun event. It was really fun.
I think that's part of the magic. So, Harshvardhan, you also hosted some great events. I mean, I have still not attended at the Westin with you because you moved there, but the Novotel airport that you handled for a long time, it is one of the furthest hotels, but we won't mind because, we knew every time we'd land up there would be a complete experience right from the pickup and drop and all the, the pampering that would happen. So, I mean, did it come naturally to you, or is it the brand? I mean, how do you pick up these talents?
So actually, it is both ways, I would say, because when you're allowed to innovate in a particular space, and when the brand sort of echoes that sentiment across. In my previous stint at the Novotel, even here at the Westin, what happens is we have a boundary wall saying that this is what you want to achieve, or this is the goalpost that you have, and you can create within the parameters. And that's what is the innovative part. And if you look at it right now, everywhere, nobody is looking at doing anything which is without an experience. Everybody wants to, sort of be a part of an experience, and that's how you remember things. A mundane stuff, which was a very cookie cutter approach, is now sort of moving out of the box, and people are wanting to get into the niche spaces and stuff of that sort. So that was the idea behind sort of doing events out of the box, or thinking. I think like how the Marriott Escapes was, something which is out of the box, never done, an experience which guests can really, cherish for a lifetime. So that is the idea behind everything that we do. And yes, it is, like I said, it is a two-way process where we innovate and come up with ideas along with the team, and the team executes it, accepts it, and says, "Okay, we'll go ahead with this." So it's I cannot definitely say it's one person's success. It's a collective success of the team where they give fuel to the whole idea coming out.
So, Rubeena, I would like to know that what are the parts about your work that you love the most, and what are the more challenging ones, and what are the qualities required in a good marketer, according to you?
I think, what I really like about what I do is the fact that there's great deal of freedom and creativity that comes along, right, with what we do. And like Suhasini had mentioned, there's not just marketing and PR, there's a lot of back-end work that we do. We have to just be all-rounders, right, in most cases. So yeah, that's just that. And challenges, I would say, with this whole pandemic situation, I think I would say 2020 has been a challenging year for all of us, more so because we had not anticipated a situation of this sort, right? And I think COVID's impact on hospitality industry specifically has been devastating. So it actually entirely changed the face of marketing, I would say, right? I mean, a well laid out full year plan actually just went for a toss, right? So we had to sort of reevaluate, we had to reset our marketing strategies and business models, and we had to think out of the box, just to be able to provide something compelling to our guests, to offer something very unique and innovative, because that's really what people are looking out for right now. But with those limited restrictions, I mean, with safety regulations in mind, there's very little scope that you also have at the same time. So that sometimes can be a little challenging. Yeah.
Okay. So, Hasini, how did you cope with the entire pandemic scenario since last year? Take us through the all states of mind you went through.
So I was just telling one of my colleagues the other day, I said, we've been trained so well that we've experienced so many PR crises in our entire tenure with the hospitality and maybe even out of the industry. But we were never told what to do when a life crisis like this hits us. So there's no real set formula as such as to what we could have done. I think the first lockdown hit us really harsh. We didn't know what to do. We didn't know what hit us. It was just a blank space with a lot of free time in hand, and there was a lot of thought for creativity. There was so much with passion and hobbies. I tried all of it. I went to do yoga. I tried meditation. I tried dancing. I tried cooking. I got my hands on gardening, which I'm in love with right now. So all of that happened, but I can't ignore the fact that there was also a huge space for the darkest thoughts, a lot of anxiety, a lot of pressure, a lot of what is going to happen tomorrow. My parents are in Hyderabad, I'm in Bombay. How do I reach out to them? There's so much stress and so much anxiety which needed to be addressed. And I think the first wave hit us so hard. There was just too much of everything, and just not knowing the uncertain future was a little difficult. I'll be honest. I'll be very honest. I don't think I could cope too well. But with time, I think change is something that's very evident. We can't really do much about it. It's constant. With time, we learn to adapt. With time, I did start to realize that I need to give myself time. I need to give my mental health time. I need to give my physical health time. It's not always about work. It's not always about a happy space. There are sad spaces, and you have to learn to nurture and understand the sad space and the darker thoughts as well. You can't ignore them. Ignoring them is not the best way. So the first half, if I had to run through the first half, I did try everything possible. Like I said, I started doing evening walks. I started dancing. I started trying to learn. Got myself into coloring. I started gardening. I found this newfound love for gardening. I've gone crazy with plants in my balcony, and they're like my little babies now. But along with that, then we started work, and then we started work from home. Now that was again something that hit us really hard. Like I said, I've been a people's person. Not having my team around me was the most difficult thing. I just couldn't understand how to deal with Zoom calls. I didn't know how to get people to understand what I was thinking. It was just so difficult. And then you have your family around, and there's so much more. Like for me, I don't know. A lot of people love to work from home, but for me, no. I love my office. I have to walk in here, and work from home was difficult. So that was another phase where I tried to adjust myself to finishing your work at home, then trying to give yourself that time at work, trying not to get diverted and saying, okay, fine, since I'm at home, let's just cook a meal in between and come back to work. That didn't work for me. I had to give my work that set of hours that it needed. That happened. And then, after a phase of time when things started opening up, then that phase of going out where, and suddenly from a person who loved to have people around me, I had people around me and I was getting anxious whether,
all of us developed that, that introvert thing.
It's a drastic change for us all, yeah.
Reserved person. I'm like, am I touching something wrong? Is that person too close to me? Should I hug? Should I shake hands? Should I give him an elbow? What do I do? So that phase happened. And then I think, but with time, we've settled down. People around have also understood how things are. Everyone's eased down a little. And I think we're in a better place. We just don't know what's going to come hit us next. But I think we're a little better prepared than we are last year. So I think we'll be able to cope better this year. I think 2021 should be better.
So Harsh, you have also had a rather tumultuous year, not just the pandemic. You switched jobs, you switched companies, you moved to Maldives, then you came back. Take us through it, and how was the Maldives experience, and what made you come back?
So very interestingly, I could say that I was at sort of a space in 2019 where I got an opportunity to get transferred to Maldives for a job. Obviously, was the joining date was amidst the pandemic, and obviously it kept extending till the time flights didn't open, and it was one of the most interesting times I've ever seen. And this is going to go down the memory lane and stay with me for a while. There was, I mean, almost after nearly about 8 months, I ended up landing in Maldives. Uh, but what happened was, I suddenly felt that this is, I mean, I'm such a person that I cannot be confined into one space. And somebody telling me that geographically this is where you can go and this is where you can't is not something. I think that's Hyderabad. You can pick up your car at any time of the day, drive around, have a cup of coffee, or have a dosa on the bandi next to in some part of the city, and that's pretty normal, and that's what I have grown on. So that's what sort of hit me very hard when I went there, especially when I was quarantining there, and I was like, this is too much of a thing. So that's when I decided that I have to come back. So that's when I came back, then joined the Westin Hyderabad Mindspace. So that was that. It was interesting to sort of, what it gave me definitely on the brighter side of things was a lot of positivity of learning and unlearning things. I had to, I was at Tuvatal for a long span. I was there for 4.5 years. Then to sort of move 3 places within a span of 1 year was interesting, and a lot of learning coming in there of how do you adapt to newer situations and newer states. So first, evidently, I failed in the first option when I moved to Maldives, but then post that happened to really adapt pretty well. I must say until now.
Okay. So, Rubeena, now that the things are opening up, what are your plans for your hotel for a great comeback? How are you taking it? And how
Can't wait for that moment, Shivani. I mean, we're cognizant of how the market develops and unfolds in order for us to bring something very compelling on the table, of course, because I think the hospitality industry right now is sort of battling to offer something very unique and innovative to guests right now. But again, so yeah, that's exactly what's in the pipeline right now. I think more of curated experiences is something we're going to definitely look at, and in the foreseeable future for sure. I mean, keeping the safety regulations in mind, absolutely. But yeah, and I'm pretty confident that the industry will bounce back very soon. I mean, it's very resilient in nature, right? The industry itself. So yeah, I'm pretty positive about that thought.
Okay. Harsh, how do you think the industry will evolve post-pandemic?
See, the industry is like Rubeena said, it's very, very interesting of an industry. It is evolving. It is very adaptable in nature in itself. So we've seen and we always see multiple things happening, and that's the kind of adrenaline rush that keeps us all going with all the madness that is around. And I think it's become addictive for all of us. So we will keep innovating. We will keep bringing stuff that is newer and experiences that is newer. What also is happening is that all of us are now extra cautious and cognizant about all the guidelines, all the safety precautions that you have to take. And, we're trying to work, again, like I said, within a boundary that has been drawn, we're trying to work out of the box. So that's where, and fortunately enough, what I see with the initial trends from, at least in Hyderabad, where unlock happened about a week, 2 weeks ago, and the response has been interesting. People have started to, come out of their places comfortably. Whoever's got vaccinated, most of them are comfortable. Even the lot that is not yet vaccinated, I guess, they are also sort of venturing out. But I think that we're seeing some positive green shoots there. It should just go upwards, is what all of us hope and pray. And we be sure that we will come back with a bang, and the industry definitely will sustain and flourish as always. And like we always say, that we will be that
Yeah.
aspiring place to be always.
Okay, great. So, Suhasini, what do you do differently now in terms of your work? And any mantras you would like to give young aspirants who want to enter this industry?
I think the post-pandemic world is going to be very different. I think organizations will have to now reimagine customer experience. It's going to be a lot about detailing. It's going to be personalized marketing now. It's not really going to be how it was before. There's going to be a lot of highlight in terms of safety, in terms of how guest communication is out there. We'll have to talk about our safety procedures, because this thing is not here to just go out. It's going to change the whole phase of marketing. I think marketing is going to take a very different turn post the pandemic. The world's gone digital, and everything that we look at now is visual marketing. It's about the impact what influencers have today and what the impact that influencers are going to have post pandemic is going to be very different to what it was before all of this hit us. I don't have a mantra as such. I'm trying to figure it out myself. I think all of us are new to this. It's going to be a new experience. We're going to be freshers all over again. But I do think digital is going to be the way forward. I think we sort of started looking in that direction, but we didn't really realize the importance of it until today. I think digital is the only way forward. The focus on leisure, travelers is going to increase. Even business hotels now, we focus on leisure travelers. In terms of staycations, all of that, everything, the strategies, all of it is going to be moved towards digital. And I think there's no mantra, like I said, but then maybe the future marketing executives should probably consider doing a little social media course, because I think I was one of the oldest marketing persons that got in, and I didn't know A or B of social media. And even till date, I'll be very honest and admit to the fact that I still don't know much about social media. I'm glad I have a brilliant social media team, but I really wish I was as savvy. The filters, the kind of apps we use, I really wish I could get my hands on the things the way these people do, because I have a brilliant exec. I've always had, even in Hyderabad, I had Forum. Here I have a girl called Daya. I've always had a brilliant team of youngsters who just come out with mad, campaigns, just out of the box campaigns.
I think digital is a very young medium, isn't it?
Yeah.
So another thing I've felt over the years is that women have an edge in marketing and PR, and Harshvardhan is one of the few brave men who's ventured into this arena. How does that feel, Harsh?
Feels interesting, and I think I don't know how has this evolved that there were a lot of women and less number of men around. But I think it is one of those departments where we're looking at the reverse equality. At least with the marriage team, I can surely say that there is a lot of men around in the team that are coming up being a part of it.
Now I see a mix, but earlier it used to be.
The
glamour, I think, came from the women.
I guess.
If I could just add to that, Shivani, I think even marketing before was very different to what marketing is now. Marketing was more about PR, and I think women naturally have a flair for talking to people. I think that's what made it a very female-dominated industry before. But now marketing has become very statistical. Very analytic. It has a lot more. So I think there's a huge scope for men to get in, but I think we'll still rule the world, Harsh.
I agree.
I'm not contesting that at all.
So, Rubeena, you are a commerce graduate. So tell us, how would marketing a hotel be different from any other industry, say FMCG or any other?
Well, I think, at some point in time, it's a personal opinion, of course, but I'd worked in Deloitte as a tax consultant, moving from, that's a drastic change. It has been a drastic change for me. I think at some point in time, things do get monotonous, and that's complete opposite in the hospitality industry, right? Every day is a new day, right? And there's so much to do. You're just always on the foot. There's rooms, there's spa, there's F&B, there's so much, the curated experiences and PR events. There's just, I could probably go on and on. So I think the monotony is the huge difference that I would actually, see in this part. Yeah.
Perhaps that's the reason I think hoteliers are the only people who did not enjoy work from home at all.
Actually, but now that we're operating digitally, I think things have slightly changed. I am personally flexible with both options. Yes, you're right. There are no in-person brainstorming sessions or exchanging of ideas, which actually does lead to great initiatives eventually. That was lacking, that's right. But I think it does sort of give you that flexibility, right? It saves your travel time, but only for now. I mean, I know soon businesses will go back to normal, and then you'll have these on-ground activities, PR activities, and of course, a Marcom's presence is definitely crucial then. So yeah.
Great. So now I think you've answered all the serious questions. We're on to our rapid fire round. This is all slightly, questions with a twist. Let's start with Suhasini.
Do I hamper at the end of this?
Sure. I'll send it to you. I mean, I'll email it to you. Okay. So, your favorite restaurant?
In Hyderabad, in Bombay? I'll say Hyderabad because I've been there for the longest time. Haiku. I love haiku.
Okay. Your favorite dish?
Sushi.
Okay. The funniest goof up you've ever done?
I don't think goof ups are funny. They're very serious. When I goof up, I do really get penalized for it.
Not in the industry we work in.
Okay. What do you enjoy more, selling rooms or selling F&B?
F&B any day.
Okay. One hotel experience you can never forget. Because you travel a lot too. So
the Blue Oak Boutique Hotel in Prague. It was this beautiful little hotel, and it had so much warmth to it. It was like a cottage. Still felt like a hotel. Had a little bar where I got smashed every night. Loved it.
Sell your current hotel property in 3 lines to me for my next trip to Bombay.
It's modern. It's uber cool, and it's extremely convenient to fly from here. We have a helipad on top.
Oh, wow. Excellent. So I'll have to look for a helicopter. Wonderful. Now moving to Rubeena. One PR no in your book.
A PR no.
Yeah. That one should never do.
Goof ups. I think, yeah, that's something we don't want to do. Yeah.
Okay. One marketing mantra you stick to.
Efficiency, time management. Yeah.
What do you prefer, mountains or beaches?
Beaches any day.
Okay. Your favorite destination, travel destination?
I'd pick Bali and Goa both.
Okay. 3 qualities that make you perfect for the job you're doing right
now. I think the ability to respond quick and the vicious, character that one needs to possess being a marketer. And I think interpersonal skills, I would say.
Okay. Favorite cuisine?
Has to be Italian.
Okay, great. Now moving on to Harsh. I'm going to rag Harsh a bit.
Being the only guy on the forum.
Okay. Yeah. One funniest goof up you ever did?
No, yeah, I like, there is no scope for goof up, and if you ever goof up, it's never funny. It could be funny for others, not for you for sure.
Okay. Tell us something about you that no one knows.
I think that I can sleep for hours on hold.
Okay.
And I can sleep so deep in that, even if you blast a bomb next to me, I'm not going to wake up.
Tell me one marketing mantra you stick to.
The one marketing mantra I stick to is to be innovative and stay on the trend so that nobody feels bored looking at what we're doing. Yeah.
Okay. What do you enjoy more, cooking or mixing cocktails?
Cooking. Not a very cocktail mixing person. I can't wait for alcohol to be, put in so many forms. You can just have it.
Okay. Tell me your current hotel in 3 lines or 3 words.
Sure. So it's a very, very well connected. beautiful and something where you can come in and wind amidst all the chaos that's outside in the city. Right in the city, you can just refresh, rejuvenate. You can even drop in for a cup of coffee, and you'll feel that vibe that you had that peace in you. So yeah, you should come over now.
Great. Your favorite cuisine?
My favorite cuisine is Asian.
Okay. So you're all being very proper. I mean, I want some secrets out. Open question to all of you. Ever had a crush on a hotel guest?
Not really, not that I can think of any. So Hasni, I think you have something to say.
I would say crush is a bit.
Yeah.
There are way too many crushes. Especially, I was just setting up in Bombay. There's so much. It's so different to Hyderabad. There's so many celebrities walking in all the time, and these guys coming with 6 packs. How do you not have a crush? How?
I'm sure you're having a time of your life.
I go by the poolside every evening because I want to see them swim.
Okay.
Very honest.
Rubeena, let's plan a trip to Bombay.
Yeah, let's do that.
What about Harsh?
Yeah, I've had whatever little time whatever little that you get in Hyderabad.
Okay. One excuse you make when you forget to send something on time. Secrets out.
मैं सोचना पड़ेगा because पुराना वाला यूज किया तो लोगों को पता चलेगा क्या-क्या नहीं ठीक है
I
भेजा
know. I'm thinking of something that won't be new in the future. Think of a non-digital one.
Rubeena, anything?
Nothing as such, really. I mean, there's no bahana as such that we give for such kind of situations,
I
but
think it's
probably,
good to be honest.
yeah. I mean, if there's an operational challenge, then there is, and I think that's just how we subtly, mention to the guest. Yeah.
Okay. One fun activity you did during the lockdown, working in the hotel, because I believe hoteliers always enjoy life. So
I sort of started to know and learn more about coffee, and moved out from the traditional coffee to now brewing coffee at home, and I hooked on my wife also. So we have like a whole half of our kitchen has now become a coffee experimentation place.
okay, great. Rubeena?
I'm getting my hands-on experience with baking, and I sometimes just nudge one of our chefs here. So, if I have any questions, what baking method is to be used and this and that. So I keep nudging him on and off, and I sometimes just walk in to the bakery kitchen sometimes to just see what's happening. So yeah, I do that on and off.
Great. Suhasini?
I have picked up a lot of things in this. I've started meditation. I think I'm loving meditation. I've started gardening. But I have a fun thing that we started at work. For about, I think, 3 months, we actually stayed in the hotel.
Yeah.
So we had this little pet dog. We named him Blackie, not being racist. He just started responding to that name too well. So all of us, I think we have 4 or 5 associates. We started going out for a walk with him every evening. The property is quite big, and since we were not allowed to step out of the hotel, we were in a bubble. We would go every evening for a walk with him, and now it's been a year, and he's become like this pal. He comes, waits for us at the gate every evening, and so yeah, Blackie's a part of our lives too. He's a part of Westin Mumbai.
Okay. So one last one, because we are influencers and bloggers, and often PR and communication people are at the receiving end. So one thing you feel it is not done on our part in terms of the right thing to do. What you don't like.
What you don't like, what we don't like about
any influencer or blogger, any behavior that you find difficult to deal with.
So a lot is done both from the hotel's end to accommodate blogger requests, to personalize the experience when they walk in, because they're going to be the representation of our brand when they walk out of the hotel. But what I feel is once the experience is done, and I'm not pointing fingers to anybody, but in general, what happens is we also have certain expectations from the influencers in terms of the content they provide us. A lot of time there's delay, and a lot of time there's a total lapse. A lot of them come back with there's nothing. Sometimes we sort of entertain influencers. We organize for an entire experience, and sometimes there's not even a post. That kind of hurts. It's like a pinch, more than a pinch sometimes.
Quite reasonable. Harsh, what would you think?
So I think it's not with the traditional ones that are around and that we know of. A lot of times, a lot of people literally slide into our DMs and are demanding things. This is what we want, and want us. Where are you getting this from? So yeah, that is something that I think a lot of people should stop doing, because we keep doing our job of sort of hunting the right profile, because what we do is we see that, is the person the right fit for the hotel?
True.
Are we going to, as a hotel, add value to the content that the person is already putting out? So
I'm sure you do your homework.
Yeah, we do our homework, and so if you are being called, then there's
I think
qualification has been done.
Accepted gracefully.
Yes.
That's what I feel.
But a lot of people come from nowhere, and certain profiles that I've opened to see what the person is, I get a shock of
What about Rubeena?
I think Suhasini and Harsh pretty much have covered what I was going to touch upon. But yeah, I think there are times that we feel, I think, the influencers or the bloggers can get slightly pushy, and they might actually demand for something which actually is not operationally possible, or maybe a prior intimation is something we would expect. But in a lot of cases, sometimes it just comes all of a sudden. So yeah, that can be a little tricky for us at the back end.
Okay, great. It was a wonderful conversation with a lot of insights, and I wish you a great future ahead. Look forward to visiting your hotel soon as everything opens up.
Looking forward to that.
Look forward to good times ahead.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Shivani. Thanks for inviting us. It was an honor.
Thank you for that.
It was an honor. Thank you so much for having us. I think we had a blast too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Fun catching up with Rubeena and Harsh. We don't do that often.
Yeah. Nice catch up.
Nice. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you guys. Bye-bye. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.